Picture this. You've just presented an idea you're passionate about, only to have it dismissed. Or perhaps you've received harsh feedback on work you poured your heart into. The sting of rejection and criticism is universal. We all feel it. But what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy that offers practical wisdom for handling these painful experiences? Stoicism, a philosophy born in ancient Greece and Rome, isn't about suppressing emotions or maintaining a stiff upper lip, as many believe. Rather, it provides a framework for responding to life's challenges with clarity and purpose. Today, we'll explore how Stoic principles can transform rejection and criticism from sources of pain into opportunities for growth. The Stoics understood something profound about human nature. While we cannot control external events or others' opinions, we maintain absolute authority over our responses. This simple yet powerful distinction forms the foundation of Stoic resilience in the face of criticism and rejection. As we journey through these principles together, I invite you to consider how they might apply to your own experiences. Whether you're facing professional setbacks, social rejection, or creative criticism, these timeless Stoic practices offer a path forward with dignity and wisdom. Number 1. The dichotomy of control. When Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote in his private journals, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't merely offering comforting words. He was articulating what Stoics call the dichotomy of control, perhaps their most fundamental principle. What exactly does this mean in the context of rejection and criticism? Consider what happens when your work is criticized. The criticism itself, the word spoken, the email sent, the review posted, exists entirely outside your control. Equally beyond your influence are the opinions formed in the critic's mind, their mood that day, or their personal standards and expectations. What remains firmly within your control? Your interpretation of those events, the meaning you assign to them, the actions you take in response. This distinction isn't semantic, it's transformative. When we mistakenly place our sense of well-being in things we cannot control, others' approval, universal acclaim for our ideas, freedom from criticism, we surrender our peace of mind to external forces. We become like ships without anchors, tossed by every wave of opinion. Instead, the Stoic focuses attention inward. Did I act according to my values? Did I do my best work? Am I responding to this criticism with integrity? These questions place power back in your hands. By focusing exclusively on what you can control, your judgments and actions, you build resilience that no rejection can undermine. This doesn't mean ignoring criticism or rejection's pain. Rather, it means recognizing that the path forward lies not in wishing for different circumstances, but in exercising your response with wisdom. Number 2. Negative visualization. Begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." These words from Marcus Aurelius might seem pessimistic at first glance, but they reveal a powerful Stoic technique called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This practice involves deliberately visualizing potential rejections or criticisms before they occur. A modern speaker might envision audience members challenging their ideas. A writer might imagine receiving critical feedback on their latest work. An entrepreneur might contemplate investors rejecting their pitch. Why voluntarily subject yourself to these uncomfortable scenarios? Because psychological preparation diminishes their impact when they actually occur. Research confirms what Stoics intuited centuries ago. Anticipating setbacks reduces their emotional power. When rejection arrives unexpectedly, it often triggers our fight-or-flight response. Our thinking narrows. Emotions overwhelm reason, and we may react defensively rather than thoughtfully. But when we've mentally rehearsed these scenarios, they arrive as anticipated visitors rather than home invaders. This practice doesn't mean constantly dwelling on negative outcomes. Rather, it means briefly acknowledging their possibility as part of your preparation process. I've prepared my presentation thoroughly, but some may still disagree with my conclusions, and that's okay. I'll listen carefully to their perspective. Negative visualization also cultivates gratitude. By regularly contemplating how easily rejection could occur, we appreciate acceptance more deeply when it happens. The person who has contemplated losing their position values it more than one who takes it for granted. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate discomfort. It's to develop the inner resources to face it with equanimity when it arrives. And number 3, the view from above. When criticism strikes, our perspective often narrows. A negative comment can consume our attention, magnifying to proportions far beyond its actual significance. This is where the Stoic practice of the view from above offers profound relief. Imagine rising above your current situation, first to the height of a building, then a mountain, then high into the atmosphere, and finally to a cosmic perspective. From this vantage point, consider your recent rejection or criticism. How significant does it appear within the vast tapestry of human experience? How important will it seem 1 month from now, 1 year, 10 years? Epictetus, once a slave who became a renowned Stoic teacher, advised, "Remember that you are an actor in a drama of such sort as the author chooses." Sometimes we're cast in difficult scenes, receiving harsh feedback, having ideas dismissed, facing social rejection. Yet these moments constitute tiny fragments of our life's complete story. This cosmic perspective doesn't invalidate your feelings. Rather, it contextualizes them, preventing a momentary setback from dominating your entire worldview. The criticism that seemed devastating at 9 a.m. becomes merely an unpleasant event by evening, and perhaps even a valuable lesson by next week. This practice helps separate your essential self from the specific rejection. You are not your rejected manuscript, your criticized presentation, or your dismissed idea. You are the consciousness observing and responding to these events, a distinction that creates psychological space between you and the pain of criticism. When you view rejection from this elevated perspective, you often discover something remarkable. Most criticism that once seemed personal was never really about you at all. It reflected the critic's expectations, preferences, and limitations just as much as your work. Number 4. Finding the opportunity in adversity. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This paradoxical observation from Marcus Aurelius captures a central Stoic insight. Within every setback lies opportunity. The Greeks called this concept the turning obstacle upside down. When facing rejection or criticism, most people see only the obstacle, the pain, the setback, the blow to confidence. The Stoic deliberately looks for the hidden advantage, asking, "How can this criticism make my work stronger? What truth might lie within this rejection that I can use?" How might this challenge help me grow? Consider the novelist whose manuscript receives critical feedback. The non-Stoic response might be dejection or defensiveness. The Stoic response: "This editor has just shown me weaknesses in my work I couldn't see myself. A valuable gift." The criticism that initially stung becomes a tool for improvement. This perspective shift doesn't happen automatically. It requires deliberate practice and sometimes considerable effort. When Epictetus counseled that we should make the best use of what is in our power and take the rest as it happens, he was describing this exact process, transforming what we cannot control, criticism, into something we can, opportunity. Companies that embody this principle turn customer complaints into product improvements. Speakers convert audience objections into stronger arguments. Leaders transform team criticism into more effective leadership approaches. The rejection itself becomes raw material for future success. This isn't mere positive thinking, it's strategic perception. By training yourself to automatically search for advantage within adversity, you develop a psychological immune system that not only protects against criticism's sting, but actually metabolizes rejection into growth. Number 5. Separating opinion from truth. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. When Marcus Aurelius wrote these words, he captured a Stoic principle essential for handling criticism: the distinction between opinions and objective truth. When someone criticizes your work or rejects your idea, what have they actually given you? Not truth, but an opinion, a judgment filtered through their unique perspective, preferences, biases, and limitations. Even expert criticism remains fundamentally subjective. This doesn't mean dismissing all criticism as worthless. Quite the opposite. It means evaluating feedback based on its merit, rather than its emotional impact. Some criticism, though painful, contains valuable insights. Other criticism, though confidently delivered, may have little substance. The Stoic approach involves mentally labeling criticism as opinion rather than fact. This person thinks my presentation was disorganized, rather than my presentation was disorganized. This subtle shift creates space for evaluation. Is this assessment accurate? Partially accurate? What evidence supports or contradicts it? Epictetus advised, "It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." When you receive criticism, notice your automatic judgments. This means, "I'm not talented," or "they'll never respect me now." Question these interpretations. Are they helpful, accurate, necessary? This practice requires intellectual humility, the willingness to consider that critics might be right, partially right, or entirely wrong. It means separating your ego from the evaluation process to see more clearly. When you no longer treat criticism as absolute truth or personal attack, you can extract its value without absorbing its poison. As we conclude our exploration of Stoic wisdom, remember that these principles aren't merely theoretical. They're intensely practical tools developed over centuries to navigate life's challenges with dignity and wisdom. The next time rejection or criticism finds you, as it inevitably will, pause before reacting. Remember the dichotomy of control, focusing your energy on your response rather than wishing for different circumstances. Consider whether you've practiced negative visualization to prepare for this moment. Step back to gain the view from above, seeing this event within life's broader context. Look deliberately for the opportunity hidden within this setback. And finally, separate opinion from truth, evaluating feedback based on its merit rather than its emotional impact. These practices won't eliminate the initial sting of rejection, nor should they. Our emotional responses make us human. What Stoicism offers isn't emotional suppression, but reasoned response, the ability to feel the impact of criticism while choosing how to engage with it. In a world increasingly characterized by harsh judgment and public criticism, these ancient practices offer something remarkable, a path to maintain your center regardless of external opinions. As Epictetus reminds us, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. By incorporating these Stoic principles into your approach to rejection and criticism, you transform potential sources of suffering into opportunities for growth. And perhaps this is Stoicism's greatest gift, not freedom from life's difficulties, but the capacity to meet them with wisdom, integrity, and an unshakable inner strength.